Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 1991 here with another graphic novel review where today I'm going to be talking about Captain America, the Captain. Now, the story opens up with the Commission of Superhuman Activities forcing Steve Rogers into an ultimatum. Either he works for them full-time as a government agent, or he has to turn in his shield and the Captain shield costume and no longer use the Captain America identity. So, after a night of mulling it over, Steve decides that ultimately he has to go with his idea. He has to stick with his ideals, and so he turns in his shield and relinquishes the Captain America identity. The Commission then decides that they need another Captain America, so they choose John Walker, the superhero formerly known as the Super Patriot. And also, when they choose Walker to become the new Captain America, Walker asks if his friend Lamar Hoskins can become his partner while he works for him. And of course, they agree to that, and Lamar becomes the new Bucky. However, eventually Lamar changes his codename and costume to and takes the new identity Battlestar. Meanwhile, Steve Rogers gets a black version of his suit, which you can see on the cover here. That's Steve's other suit, and he goes by the alias. Instead, he just uses the simple alias, the Captain, hence the title of the story of this collection. And Steve continues his superhero career working with his usual allies, Falcon, the Nomad, and D-Man. And the whole time he's continuing being a superhero, he thinks to himself whether or not he should actually take the fight to the Commission in order to change things. And also, he actually gets two replacement shields during this time. One is a shield made out of pure adamantium, created by Tony Stark. However, there is a conflict that between Tony and Steve that causes Steve to ultimately return the shield back to Tony. And this conflict actually ties into a story arc that was going on in Iron Man called the Armor Wars. Some of you may have heard of it. And the second shield was actually given to him by Black Panther, and it's a vibranium shield. So naturally, and he sticks with that until ultimately Steve gets his original shield back. But more on that later. And, of course, the main thing is that while Steve's continuing his superhero career, he's debating whether or not he should actually take the fight to the Commission and try to get back and forcefully get back his identity. Meanwhile, John Walker, his career as Captain America, as the new Captain America, is going pretty well. Publicly, people are sort of going in his publicity is going in his favor. However, all of that changes when Walker's parents are murdered by a tyrannical group called the Watchdogs, and after that, Walker suffers a complete psychological breakdown. Whenever he's in the field, he just loses it, goes crazy, and basically goes full on beatdown, and even murders a couple of guys whoever he's up against, and it's starting to become a real problem. Ultimately, though, when Rogers and Walker confront each other, it's revealed that the Red Skull has been behind the whole thing. And by the way, before I continue, I just want to point out that before this, the Red Skull technically died, but this time it turns out that Arnim Zola put the Red Skull's mind into a clone body of Steve Rogers. And of course, when Steve finds out about this, he fights the Skull, and during the process, he exposes the Skull to a poison that he commonly uses. That when used, it kills his victims and also turns their heads into basically red skulls. And when Steve exposes the Skull to it, he survives, but now he's stuck with a permanent Red Skull head. So, and ultimately, the Skull did all of this, getting Steve out of the Captain America identity and causing Walker to have the full psychotic break, and causing John Walker to go crazy just so that he could tarnish the legacy of Captain America. However, in the end, when the Commission finds out that the Red Skull has been behind all of this, ultimately, though, they offer Captain America the shield and the suit back, but Steve says, you know what, I don't need it. This whole ordeal has proven to myself that I don't need the shield. I don't need to be called Captain America to be a hero. I can do all of this without it. But ultimately, Walker insists, ultimately what gets Steve to take back the shield and the Captain America identity is John Walker. He basically says that, you are Captain America. I mean, I tried living up to your legacy. I failed. You deserve this, man. And that's basically how the story ends. So, and honestly, this was a fantastic story arc. It's written by Mark Gruenwald, who is considered by many Captain America fans to be one of the best writers on this title, and I can see why. This was a very amazing story. I loved the way Gruenwald showed Steve's internal conflict of whether or not to actually take action against the Commission. Also, I really like the issue where we see Steve mulling over whether or not he should actually take the offer that the Commission is saying, or whether he should just give up his identity altogether and stick with his ideals. That was very good. I mean, there are really good themes that Gruenwald conveys here, such as what it means to be a patriot and government corruption and stuff. It's very amazing. Overall, I think this is a fantastic story. I think it kind of proves that why Steve Rogers needs to be Captain America. And I think this is something that every Captain America fan should read. We have there have been a lot of people who have replaced Steve as Captain America, but ultimately, though, Steve Rogers is the one and only Captain America. And I think that anyone who likes Captain America should definitely read this story. Although, fair warning, it is pretty thick. It's about, 28 issues. No, 18. Sorry, I miscarried a 1. It's about 18 issues, so it's a pretty thick book. Might need a completely free afternoon to read it, but I promise you it is worth it. I highly recommend you pick up this book. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you again for watching another one of my graphic novel reviews. Check out my channel for other reviews I've done for comic books. Thanks for all your support, whether you're an old subscriber or new subscriber. Thank you. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.